Hi everybody, my name is Deldarslit, and today we're going to be having a little bit of a reaction video. Now, this video is going to be called Villains Done Right. It's about Doflamingo, it's by MangaKamen, and I'm kind of just here to see what the fuck we're getting into, so let's begin.
Pirates are evil, the Navy is just, but that's only true.
If you don't know who this character is, run away if you care about One Piece spoilers, because that means that you haven't watched the Red Jack shit. I'm pretty sure it's probably going to be One Piece things every once in a while.
Because history tells us so.
Mm-hmm.
Children who've never known peace
Peace.
have different values than
Then
children
those
who've
you
never
know
known
known
war.
war.
The one who wins.
To be fair, I started One Piece in the manga only during Wano as Luffy started the fight with Kaido. That is where I started One Piece. So I have only secondhand knowledge of Doflamingo.
Will rewrite the definition of right and wrong. They'll decide the future and how the past is written.
Mm-hmm.
Will justice prevail? Why, there's no other way.
Way.
The winner will define the meaning of
justice. Villains done
I
right.
strive to talk about villains on this channel.
Mm-hmm.
Villains I think are done exceedingly
Ooh.
well, and to my credit, a lot of people seem to like it when I talk about the positives of well-done villains.
So that sounds pretty
videos
nice.
on the channel, if I'm honest, as well. And while I've dipped my toe into talking about villains,
You bell? Hold up, there's a You Bell video? I'm gonna check out some more of this person's shit.
outside my usual topic of video games,
I might watch it on my own time though.
Safe by talking about
Depends.
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. So bear with me as we tackle the topic from another series that I've grown up alongside with, and have had a bit of a love and hate relationship with, One Piece.
Oh, come on, man. You said one. One Piece.
And if the title and opening didn't give it away, we'll be talking about probably one of my favorite villains from the series, Don Quixote Doflamingo.
And you shouldn't be getting cocky, my friend.
Right.
Naturally, with a topic like this, there are going to be some pretty big spoilers for character and history of the series. Plus, I'm not going to be holding your hand through everything. So, with that out of the way, I'm MangaKamen, and remember, it's all about the smiles.
Yeah.
A brief overview of who Doflamingo is. He was one of the major antagonists through a good portion of One Piece. Years ago in the Dressrosa arc, he was one of the 7 warlords, a former celestial dragon, the king of Dressrosa, and was a broker for one of the 4 members of the sea and the underworld.
Nice.
We actually introduced the Doflamingo quite early in One Piece, chapter 233 and episode 151.
That fucking walk.
Warlords, Crocodile having been defeated and a replacement being sought after. Of course, like most characters, they have their pasts shown, where we learn about Doflamingo being a former noble until his father relinquished his status, taking Doflamingo, his brother Rocinante, and their mother to the...
Now, obviously, I've done like reaction videos and watched other shit where, you know, I know who Doflamingo is, just not actual things he's done in show.
Human land. And things immediately.
So if I've not seen any of the fights or anything,
was hunted down by former victims of the celestial dragons. Doflamingo's mother dies, and the rest of the family was being hunted down like rabid animals. Eventually, they get caught and tortured until Doflamingo uses Conqueror's Haki for the first time. And after that, Doflamingo slowly began to crawl out from the depths of despair, gaining allies, his father, getting his devil fruit, the Ito.
That tiny ass gun.
And eventually, he created a pirate crew in the North Blue with his goals and aspirations growing with no one getting in his way. Even his family and own brother. Even his own brother, Rocinante, who he guns down after learning his deception, thinking his brother was a mute and was a dog of the military. Now, I've given you a bit of a condensed backstory on the character. There are a lot more details than what this video will provide, but I wanted to give a brief introduction to the character so we can be on the same page. What I find more fascinating about is Doflamingo's design.
Oh, fuck off with that dumbass ads. I don't give a fuck, man.
Does have a tendency to play around with his character designs and body types, and isn't afraid of going outside.
Bro, if you see most One Piece characters,
oftentimes pull real-world influence
fuck ton of people, fuck ton of big body top motherfuckers.
Fandom and WWE's Mick Foley. The mask kind of makes it obvious here. Or Hulk Hogan has a few instances of Whitebeard. I bring this up in relation to that of Doflamingo because when you think of a villain, you normally don't think of a guy with an outrageous, if not fashionable, pink feather boa and long, hairy legs as a major villain. Granted, not
Mm-hmm.
every villain needs to be dressed up in black, nor should they. If anything, the
No.
look really
Nope. Nope.
stands out, with Doflamingo honestly being a lot more of a down to earth body type with a more exuberant choice of
Yeah,
outfit,
compared to One
even though
Piece,
he's like
bro,
10 feet tall. Plus, let me
everybody
know in
is
the
a fucking
comments if you
menace.
got the leg hair representation that you all wanted, I guess. And this is where we get to the real life inspiration, with the comparison being to the French songwriter Polnareff. As stated,
Ooh.
Doflamingo's signature clothing is a pink feather boa and a few flamboyant outfits,
Bro,
which was
those
also
shades
a
never leave
signature
his
for
face.
Polnareff. Doflamingo also wears opaque sunglasses at all times, which Polnareff had to wear because of his deteriorating eyesight, too. Granted, there's actually more to the sunglasses than a lot of people like to think, and that's because Oda actually referenced Kamen Rider in Doflamingo's glasses. Yes,
Hmm.
he actually referenced an older picture he drew from the days of Kamen Rider Super 1, and I can see it in Doflamingo's glasses. And I gotta say, I love the look of Super 1's eyes as well,
That's
so good
actually
choice.
super
Fun
fucking
fact
cool.
though, Doflamingo was initially supposed to be a rapper, and I'm gonna be honest, I'm really glad that didn't happen because
Yeah,
I got
no.
more flashbacks to rapper based villains.
Nah, no.
I and assume a
Please
lot of other
stop,
people
bro.
can enjoy the small nods and references to
I mean, you can get an
Doflamingo's
L,
design, as well as
but
how it
yeah.
just works. He's tall, he's imposing, and he certainly has a memorable style, especially for a villain that's quite memorable and a cast that's as colorful as One Piece.
Oh yeah.
In that regard, Doflamingo certainly succeeds. Of course, when you talk about
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
villains, they need to be more than just a wicked design. They gotta be threatening.
But can you believe that the celestial dragons would tell a 10-year-old boy they wouldn't take back someone from a line of traitors? It was then that I found there was no escaping this hell. From that moment forward, I swore that I would destroy everything they held dear.
I would like to
That's
point out that
actually
one of the
pretty
more
fucking
fascinating
cool.
aspects of Doflamingo is that he built himself up from the lowest of the low and became a part of one of the biggest powers in the entire world of One Piece.
Mhm.
Yes, he started off with a silver spoon in his mouth when
But
he
he
was a
had that
celestial
removed.
dragon and the world was at his fingertips. But when his father decided to live amongst the regular people and subsequently turn their lives into hellfire, things were tough. If you recall the speech that he
So here's my question, right? If Flamingo never got like thrown down to the bottom of the pits, right? I feel like he would just turn out like any other average fucking celestial dragon. I don't think he would become this fucking much of a menace. So in short, I believe that if anyone has a time traveling fruit, someone needs to whoop his father's ass and just say, dude, if you do this, you realize your kid's gonna put you in a pack. You're gonna put his brother in a pack. If you do this, you gotta kill the kid. You gotta kill him first. Like, I'm sorry. Doflamingo was evil from the beginning.
gave at the beginning of this video, when we learn of his past, we learn he was speaking from experience. He was raised in the lap of luxury. Every lower being had to do as he commanded, and he had to suffer for years after it. It's
Mm-hmm.
almost respectable when you consider that he had almost the entire world against him. Then he established himself as the biggest name in the underworld as Joker. He was one of the strongest members of the Seven Warlords, and managed to do what his contemporary Crocodile wasn't able to: take over an entire nation, and almost in a
That's
single night, too. So already
that's actually super fucking crazy when you can think about it. It's like, I mean, truly, if he wasn't just an absolute piece of shit, he would be one of those characters people would probably root for and be like, "Oh my god, yeah, let's get it." And I know people like fucking Doflamingo. I've seen enough porn to know it. But people like Doflamingo. This fucker's a menace.
we have a character who was able to build up a reputation and can back it up, but what really stands out about the character is that we learn that he was a brat, as most celestial dragons are. But he did love his mother and was protective of his brother Rosinante later in life, and he
Mm-hmm.
suffered a lot more than what a kid should have. One of One Piece's strengths is to dive into the backstory of a lot of its arc-focused characters. Sometimes I do think there's a bit too much of a dive where it does hurt some of One
A,
Piece's
A.
storytelling, but that's for a different video. I will say that
The One Piece manga has no bad problems. The anime does. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna let it go. The fact that I wanted my Gear 5 without fucking chunks of lard thrown in it that was we call fillers. Actually, no, it's not even filler, just pacing. The pacing is effectively lard in the bloodstream. It kills me and it severs my arteries that are known as attention span. Um, yeah. Don't replay the same fucking scene 4 times as someone gets their ultimate abilities. Sorry, I'm just throwing shade after shade after shade.
When we get a deep dive into
Yes, I know
Doflamingo's
that there was a better
backstory, it's
fight
probably one
afterwards,
of
but I
those
don't give a
stronger
damn. It
backstories
annoys
for a
me.
villain in the show, since we see that while yes, he chose to become stronger from those days of torture, he still had those fears gripping his soul for years after. I say this not to excuse the actions that I'll talk about after this, but to point out that it's a humanizing element to his character. Doflamingo is a horrible, irredeemable villain with an awful personality. But that doesn't mean he wasn't human, and
Hmm.
seeing these sides of the character does a good job of fleshing him out. He's still a monster, though, and that's easily
Yeah.
shown through his actions. He's wicked, he's cruel, he's a
He's a
manipulator,
bitch.
both with his mental games and his own devil fruit powers. He became the king of Dressrosa by manipulating the former king Riku, Doldo III, to attack the people of his own kingdom, and in turn made the citizens turn against the king. He had his subordinates transform many of the inhabitants of the kingdom into toys, which also erased them from people's memories, making them into a cheap workforce to
What
have
the
weapons
fuck?
be created and sent to warring kingdoms that Doflamingo himself sparked up so he could make a profit. All the while, making Dressrosa look like a land of fun, joy, love, and passion. And even
That
then,
is
Doflamingo worked for the Navy as one of the
okay. So this is the information that I didn't know. Right? I knew that he was bad, but I've never had his crimes listed out for me. Holy shit! No, that's just fucking awful. Yeah.
seven warlords. Even marines and government officials were turned to toys to prevent the secret from leaking out. That's just one side of Doflamingo's treachery, since he also has his own man Virgo infiltrate the Navy and become a high-ranking official who helped out Doflamingo's ambitions. And
Hmm.
that's not even going into the deal that Doflamingo has with
Wait. It would fill the entire page if I listed them all. Sure, most.
Kaido to produce the Smile Devil Fruits.
Hold it. Hold it. I need to go back some.
The Navy and become a high-ranking official who helped out Doflamingo's ambitions. And that's not
If I listed them all out here, there are tons and tons of card games played over the world. Incidentally, you may remember that Doflamingo's codename was Joker back in Dressrosa. That's because in my initial plans, he was going to show up in Wano as one of Kaido's powerful allies. Oh, yep.
not even going into the deal that Doflamingo has with
The okay,
Kaido
yeah,
to
it makes
produce the
sense
Smile
since
Devil Fruits, the artificial devil
King, Queen,
fruits. The man
Joker.
has a lot of connections, had a lot of standing in the world as a superpower, has at least 2,000 soldiers at his beck and call, and was also part
Yeah.
of the underworld brokering, such as trafficking of drugs, slave trading, production and
Fucking
distribution
hell.
of weapons of mass destruction, and devil fruits. He was a big player. He was Joker. To put
There's no place.
Fuck off. Like, seriously though, fuck off.
Those use plastic.
Bitch, no. This is not what the fuck I told you to do. I didn't say you fuck off and another one takes your place.
it simply, he's a bad guy.
Yeah.
Of course, that's not even considering his actual physical abilities and devil fruit. The man is capable of slicing 3 buildings into 2 with a single kick. He's a very strong individual, being
Mm-hmm.
capable of delivering a powerful kick to Luffy, who was shown prior able to defend against in an earlier battle. And he's able to
Yeah.
take hits as well, being frozen solid, taking a direct Red Hawk from Luffy, and even had numerous organs rupture all at once, and was able to walk
Jesus.
that off with his Devil Fruit by creating stitches to get them back together just so he can get back to fighting Luffy. Oh yes, his Devil Fruit, the Ito Ito no Mi, the ability
So I've heard shit like that, right? Where he just heals himself by stitching himself back together, and I just think to myself, the fuck? Because here's the thing, right? Most people with devil fruits can be intimidating, like fire, burn them, do this, do that. But strings is one of those devil fruits that you can only find and be useful if you are imaginative and actually can think of cool shit to do with them.
to create and manipulate strings. Now, on the surface, that doesn't sound like a good power. Then again, you
Mm-hmm.
can't really stoop as low as becoming a human skin suit. But, like a
Yeah,
lot of
no, that
powers
one's
in
actually
One Piece, it
shit.
really comes down to execution, since the strings in and of themselves are thin and extremely durable, even strong
Mm-hmm.
enough to cut through pretty much anything, and the strings can originate from anywhere on the user's body, or even within
Yeah.
it, to stitch up his organs as demonstrated earlier. Some of the powers that Doflamingo has
I'm gonna be honest with you. I imagine Doflamingo like letting someone fucking stab through him and then he just fucking like cuts their blade internally, and it's like you pull it out, and you're like, the fuck, where did my sword go? And you go, and from there, more strings blast out of the open hole, stab you in the fucking body. You're like, bitch, here's a reverse counter. Like that type of shit.
Shown with his
It's not even a
double
counter.
his
It's just a
creativity
fucking
with it
what?
include using the strings to swing on
Doesn't matter.
clouds
You know
to
what the
make
hell
it
I mean.
appear as though he's flying through the air, creating a doppelganger, using his strings to slice a gigantic meteor and even an entire country to ribbons,
Mm-hmm.
shoot strings at his opponent like a bullet, and create a protective barrier web. And probably one
God.
of the cruelest is his ability to control people, like a puppet on strings, and he can do this to numerous people at once. Then there's also
You know what makes me even more fucked with that puppet shit? We've already shown that they're strong and durable. Let's just be honest here. I imagine that people have definitely tried to struggle against him, and he just tears ligaments and body parts and says, you know what? Fuck, I'm going to break this arm, and I'm going to then continue moving you.
his awakening, where he has the ability to transform non living things in his area into strings that he can manipulate freely. On a
Mm-hmm.
physical and combat level, the guy is one you don't want to mess with. And then there's his psychological warfare.
Oh,
One such
fuck yeah.
example is when he used the Maramara no Mi to bait Luffy to run off and slightly mess with the alliance between Luffy and Law. Doflamingo isn't a dumb character. He has a lot of insight into people, as well doing what he can to tactically make sure that he has the advantage, such as offering prize money and a chance to survive for the people of Dressrosa to turn against Luffy and the others. All in all,
That's
Doflamingo
actually
does
pretty
deserve the
good,
level of threat he's
strats.
earned, and he's still a monster. However, that's not what I find truly fascinating about the character. Doflamingo, while he has a tragic past, he doesn't use it as a means to play victim. Rather, it's more his subordinates that do that. They make excuses about how his life was unfair and how Doflamingo was in the right. But Dofi himself? Yeah.
It's almost admirable to an not admiral, admirable to an extent to say, I never made an excuse for the things that I've done. But those who watched and have followed me, they will.
Yeah, he does have some sympathetic qualities, and he's
Mm-hmm.
actually a very important character when it comes to world building as well as establishing the politics of the world. Doflamingo pushed it more and more. Also, amongst most of the villains in the entirety of One Piece, he was
Yeah.
the one who did get a huge amount of personal backstory and times to see
Hmm.
him alone. And we see him have empathy for his crew. To me, he's a popular villain
It's
because
weird.
you know that despite his past, he is still a huge monster,
Oh yeah.
and we revel in delight seeing him clash against the heroes. There's a difference between hating a character and hating on a character. To hate a character based on their actions depends on how their role is played. When you're a villain and you're involved in things like weapon and slave trafficking, you're not
Yeah.
meant to be considered a good
You were
person. But
trash.
that doesn't mean you can't be a well written character, and that doesn't mean people can't like a villain like this. Humanized is a more appropriate term, since it's more made to
Yeah.
understand where Doflamingo's motivations come from. He's a fictional representation of pure evil, to collapse the world government and become the immortal king of the world. It sounds
He would have
evil
stabbed
and
Kaido in the back
fair,
if he
but
could.
there's a phrase that rings true.
Sadly, he's
It's
not
not the
getting
end of
to.
the journey that matters, but the journey itself. We love to watch characters like Doflamingo, monsters who are beyond redemption. We love to see them soar to great heights, watching them accrue their victories and hurt others to show how vile they are. It
And
just
then I want to
makes
see the
their
fall.
fall all the more impactful
Yep.
and greater for our heroes. He's a great villain. He's a mega
A
maniacal
lovely little caged
powerhouse,
bird he
fueled
is.
by greed, hatred, and immature entitlement, willing to manipulate countless lives and abuse those who would be loyal to him for no other reason than to find amusement. He's willing to kill without hesitation or remorse, all with a smile on his face. And it's rather uncomfortable to have a character constantly smiling, even when committing some heinous acts. To get
Yeah.
back to the humanity aspect, it's not to showcase he's sympathetic, but to show that he's a real person. Well, so to speak, he's still fictional, but you get my point. We get
Yeah.
scenes that show
We
he
get it, man.
mourns for those who work for him.
Also, by the way,
Virgo
I'm
and
just
Monet,
describing. He's actually
grateful
really
for their
good at fucking doing this
service, even
video.
when he asked Monet to blow up the Punk Hazard
And we're
Island
also
to
gonna like it.
ask for her forgiveness.
Like the way this is all being laid out, very well formatted. The script is really good. Even the moments of clips that he's using are really well done. Honestly, it's very simple visually because it's not about the visuals. His style is good. No, I've said his speech is good. I said his writing is good. That's enough for me to say. Let's keep going.
We also spend a lot more personal time with the character. Other villains like Crocodile, Enel, or Rob Lucci, we see more of his past. We see different sides to Doflamingo. We've seen him thinking. We've seen him shaken up by the chains of his past. These are elements of humanity that we didn't really get to see with other villains. It's these elements that make him such a fascinating character, and even
Mm-hmm.
more so as a villain since it opens up that there's a spark of humanity within him. He just chooses to drown it with his own desires, goals, and does it with a ton of entertainment value thrown along with it. It makes you feel like this character, this
You piece of
person, could
shit.
be real. He manipulates not only the characters of the world, but the audience itself. And it's in the same vein as to why a lot of people love the character like the Joker from Batman. A perpetual smile, capable of amazing cruelty.
I feel like this is not the right Joker to show for this interpretation, but yes.
A master
Just in
manipulator,
my own
a
opinion.
snappy
Just saying.
dresser, and of course,
Some men just want
Just
to
want to
watch
watch the world burn. Now that's the Joker that you should be showing there. Heath Ledger, not Joaquin Phoenix, for their representation of being a perverted menace. The other one is less so about the Joker and more so about social change than the actual Joker himself. It's just using the Joker as a medium and a metaphor to push the point of the envelope. But that is just me, obviously, diving a little bit too deep into some bullshit that I am not otherwise qualified to speak on in my own defense.
sadism. That's what really stems from this. A smile to hide the cruelty that lays beneath. A monster created by the world's twisted structure and the celestial dragons.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I find fascinating about Doflamingo.
What do you think happens to monsters once they've lost their source of food and are off their leashes? Is there anyone who rules these seas who can rein them in? Who possesses the most power, the most influence in these waters?
Oh yeah, I probably shouldn't be caring about copyright either, but fuck it.
So what happens now, you think? There are more pirates running wild out there than ever before, but there's just one empty seat. You get it now?
There's so much
All
collateral
these
damage.
pirates are about to have a struggle for supremacy. The greatest in history!
As per tradition with this channel and series, I do like to point out how the villains act as a good foil for the main characters that they fight against. Doflamingo is a little more complicated, since there's a lot more personal connection with not the main character Luffy, but rather the character Trafalgar
La
D. Law.
la.
But that doesn't mean there aren't some parallels or points of comparison that can't be made with Luffy. Although, funnily enough, Doflamingo is more of a foil to Sanji of all characters, but that's not for this video. If you want to see one for that, put in the comments, it's all about the smiles.
What?
And if we get 10k likes, who knows? Maybe I'll make a video about that. Doubt we'll get there, though. Anyway, Luffy. One of the things that really shows how Luffy and Doflamingo work as opposing forces would be freedom. It's one of the core themes of the entire One Piece storyline, with Luffy's goal of being a pirate is to live a life of true freedom. Meanwhile, Doflamingo is also a man of freedom, but a lot of his actions will often remove freedom from others. Most
He is for the
notably his
freedom of
ability to control
himself,
people
while Luffy
against
is the
their
freedom
will.
of all.
Luffy, funnily enough, is the only character to actually break free from the string control during his fight. One thing I do need to add to this is that Doflamingo sees himself as the superior being, and he comments that he hates when Luffy is above his head. And here's the thing about Luffy. It's one of his traits that Oda makes clear is that Luffy shares the beliefs of his enemies by defeating them. For them to suffer defeat and to have their beliefs destroyed is as bad as death. Killing their bodies is beside the point. Oda feels that as a pirate, Luffy and his enemies care more about victory and defeat than they care about their lives. It's been well established that
That's
Luffy,
actually
while
a
he
really
likes
cool
heroes,
method.
doesn't want to be one. But what he does care about is freedom. And a lot of the times, if he sees a jerk messing with someone who's just trying to fulfill their
Hey,
dream and
NTF.
such, he'll respond by breaking the dream of the jerk. And
Yeah.
oftentimes this leads up to beating up the loser. So when Luffy stops Doflamingo from killing Law, it's the first step to breaking Doflamingo. And it's a scene I personally really like.
Yes. Your death is now certain.
How dare you stop me?
Oh shit. You fucking garbage people. They send in ads at like the worst possible timings too.
I find
Okay,
Doflamingo to
there you go.
be an entertaining and fascinating villain, one of pure evil. He's probably one of the most fleshed out villains in
Yes.
all of One Piece, since he gets such a detailed explanation for his backstory, and you get to see how much of a vile piece of sludge he can be, all the while being entertaining and fun to watch. The thing about a lot of villains, especially villains in the modern day, and this is something that I've said numerous times, they don't really do the justice for their stories, and they aren't really all that much of a villain. A lot of times, villains are portrayed to be overly sympathetic, or they're not really the
I actually do agree with this. Make some genuine monsters. Or, if you want to, make someone who has every right to be a sympathetic villain. And then just say, I don't give a fuck. I was like, dude, weren't you tortured for 18 years and you want to destroy us all? I was like, no. I was gonna do this before that. I was gonna do this after that. It didn't change me.
villains but just misunderstood, or they have a righteous cause. And don't get me wrong, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
saying I want every villain to be Doflamingo. That'd be just as boring. But I don't
Yeah,
know if it's
no.
because I'm getting older and I've been consuming a ton of different types of media, especially more lately. But I'm just getting really sick of
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
seeing these trends, especially when I see a ton of other villains becoming a bit more formulaic and
Oh
seeing
god.
terrible people being
The fuck
painted
is
as
that?
positives simply because they just
The fuck
happen to be
is this?
popular or whatever.
Who is this?
Doflamingo, though, he's popular, yes, but he's a bastard through and through, and that's why I
Yeah.
personally love the guy as a villain. But what are your guys' thoughts? Let me know down below in the comments. I'm
I
MangaKamen, and thanks for watching. Don't forget to
lovely.
smile.
I'd better watch my loose tongue. What a rotten mess I could cause. Just think, what if I told the whole world the secret Marie-Joie is hiding? Why does it matter if it's revealed now? Power doesn't last long. It'll rot faster than anyone thinks.
Dude literally knows all the secrets, has all the power, and he's just like, fuck it. I'm in a jail cell, and I still have cards to play. So come on closer, and I'll deal them to you. Anyways, my name's been Slit. Please get the fuck out there. Do this shit. Yeah. Oh, that's fucking pretty as an outro. Okay, you know what? Get out there. Please support this original creator. Like, they're really fucking fun. This was a nice video to watch. And, I guess that's the gist of this. I'd like you to go into the description of this video. You'll find a link to the channel and also to the video itself. And then there's also for me, you can like it, you can comment on this, or you can even subscribe if you feel like it's something you want to do. Subscribing to me, on the other hand, is something that maybe has a few conditions, okay? I got some really chill and easy conditions. Number one, subscribe because you want to come back around and support. And number two, and the actually important one, subscribe if you think I'm worthy of your subscription. But please, have a lovely fucking day. And, well, goodbye.